Hello YouTube and Star Wars fans, Slade Berlin here with another sweet review for you. This time we're doing a very long review, so just stick around, there's a lot to cover in this review. And today we will be reviewing the Star Wars The Black Series Ben Kenobi figure from Star Wars A New Hope. Now this is the San Diego exclusive Black Series box packaging. So we have a lot to cover, mainly on the box itself, and then we will move on to the actual figure. Moving on to the actual box, you have a very nice portrait of Obi-Wan Kenobi, or Ben Kenobi here, played by Sir Alec Guinness, the late Sir Alec Guinness. On the side, you get a very nice reflective silver side of the box here. I'll turn it sideways. You have a nice logo that says Obi-Wan Kenobi, as well as you have the Rebel Alliance logo, or I should say. Let's see, move this out of the way here. Sorry, I have my other box here. Let me move it. Looking at more details of the box, I can read this to you most likely. It says, Obi-Wan Kenobi was once a noble Jedi Knight in the days of the Old Republic, before the Jedi Order was extinguished and before the tyrannical Empire ruled the galaxy. After the fall of the Jedi, Obi-Wan retreated to the isolated Jundland wastes on the desert planet Tatooine. Many locals dismissed the old hermit as a crazy wizard and never suspected that he was a once great warrior and a former general of the Republic. In actuality, Kenobi was silently observing from afar the young farm boy Luke Skywalker, whose future was unknowingly linked to the survival of the Jedi and the rebellion. When Obi-Wan saves Luke from a band of Tusken Raiders, he begins to mentor young Skywalker in the ways of the Force, and they set out to rescue the rebel leader, Princess Leia, from the Empire's dreaded Death Star. As you can see, it has a very nice description of Obi-Wan Kenobi on the side of the box. Turning over the box, you don't really have much. You have a shadow portrait of the Jundland Wastes, Obi-Wan's house on Tatooine. Nice Star Wars The Black Series logo up here. Down here, another figure name, Obi-Wan Kenobi. In terms of Disney, it has Hasbro. Yeah, I know. Now this is actually my favorite part. Let me put the stand back. This is actually my most favorite part on this figure. The box itself has two ways of viewing the figure. One, you can pull this tab up, which lifts the portrait up and has a very nice reflective view of the figure inside of the box. Or, see if I can put that back in there for you. That back in there. Or you can go the extra mile and you can actually open the box, and the figure can open, as the box has a little door here which you can open up. Now in here I could probably pull this tab out for you. Here you go. Sorry, my screen turned off. But moving on into the actual, this is the little title card that you saw Alec Guinness on the front, as I mentioned before. And you turn it on the back, and it has a nice little bio from Princess Leia. If you want to pause the video to read that, you surely can. I will hold it here for a few more seconds. I just read the other one, so I don't really plan on reading this one. So if you want, you can pause the video if you want to read this. Princess Leia Organa, or Princess Leia Organa Solo. Putting this aside, looking at the actual box, I am overly impressed with how they had this displayed. The figure is nicely displayed here, as you can see here, as well as the little view pad with the Princess Leia hologram, which I'll get into later on in the review. Now, I know that some collectors like to keep these type of figures and this type of detailing in the box. I'm not really a hardcore collector, so I am planning on taking this figure out of the box and doing an actually thorough review on the figure in terms of his paint apps, all his accessories, including his soft goods in terms of paint sculpt and application. Like I said, I'm not really a big collector, so I don't care if the figures are not exactly outside the box or inside the box. So me, I like to take the figures outside the box because I like to review them, and because I do other Phase 50s figures besides collecting them. But overall, I'm actually impressed with how they did this. They have a little Star Wars view screen here, a little door. You can see his accessories in here. She comes with quite a few. And yeah, I honestly cannot wait to take this figure out of the packaging and review it for you, because we actually have a lot to review, so stick around. And here we have the Ben Kenobi figure out of the packaging, and I must say it looks extremely beautiful. Now overall, of course you might have noticed I've taken his robe off. That is because I have put his robe on my Star Wars Revenge of the Sith Obi Wan figure. See if I can get him stationary there, and it actually fits him relatively well. Now they both stand at 6 inches, which I think is a very good bonus. And overall, I can get into the visuals of the figure. As I mentioned before, you have a very nice face sculpt. It has a very nice likeness to Sir Alec McGuinness, who portrayed him in the Star Wars movies. Very nice gray paint house on his beard and his hair. In terms of his eyes, his pupils are mostly painted on really well. Nice eyebrow texture. He has nice detailing in his robes, all the nice little creases and the nice little reflective belt buckle he has here, as well as the back. Now it's made out of vinyl, of course, but it's a very grainy type of vinyl, which makes the figure overall has a very nice look to it. Now, of course, I'm not going to really get into the articulation for this figure, because I don't really feel like it today, so I'll just tell you what the figure just has the standard Black Series articulation. Swivel head, out and in arms that swivel, bends at the elbow and bends at the hands. Under here has the standard, as also if you want to notice, it does not have any detailing under here, it's just all brown paint. It has standard Black Series articulation for these, out and in legs. They both have double jointed knees. They bend at the knees, double joints. They swivel at the legs, as well as they have an ankle rocker and an ankle pivot. So I thought that was a very good detailing indeed. So I can see if I can get him standing back here. It's a little hard to do, unfortunately, but you just have to finesse it a bit. So I guess I say finesse it. Now, here is where I have my gripes in terms of his lightsabers. Here is his lightsaber. Of course, you look at the closer look. There's a very nice detailing on the paint apps on this lightsaber in terms of the black and this reflective silver and bronze. The blade is removable. It is on a grooved peg, which means that it will not easily fall out. See here. Nice details on the emitter. The blade, of course, can go back in, and of course, it can loop on his belt clip here, on his little hook on his belt here, because it has this little loop. Now, here's what my gripe with this figure is. As opposed to this lightsaber here is this Obi-Wan's from Revenge of the Sith, and overall, when you put the two together, obviously you notice a very big difference in the color tone of the blades. This blade being a much more shaded lighter blue, and this one being the more prominent blue. And of course, it does have similarities in the hilts as well. Of course, you can see that here, being hilts here, the grip on the Alec McGuinness's lightsaber is more thicker than the Ian McGregor's lightsaber hilt, or as I say, the Revenge of the Sith hilt is much more thinner than the A New Hope hilt. Has some similarities has difference in the bronze paint too. There's an application in the shading. This Revenge of the Sith saber's bronze is a much more darker tone of bronze than the A New Hope's bronze. And of course you do have the obvious, this lightsaber being a peg-in hilt, while this one being a hook-on. To be honest, I thought that was pretty good to do the hook-on, because to be honest the peg ends kept falling off. But while the hook-ons do stay on, they do fall off. Again, I don't play with these figures, I collect them, but sometimes on the stand I have, since it's on my wall, the figures like to fall off sometimes, and then I have to worry about the lightsabers popping off, and I have to search on my floor and see if I can find them, because they're so tiny. Now as opposed to his lightsabers, his Obi-Wan sabers, he also features the Anakin Skywalker lightsaber. Of course, I have 3 of these lightsabers already. So it's not really much of a difference in these lightsabers, to be honest. Because I have the Anakin saber, I have the Rey saber, and now I have the original Anakin saber. Of course, you can see the total difference in terms of the paint. Nice reflective silver paint with that red button there, as well as the nice black little designs on the guard. Now, this is a hook-on. I think you can hook it onto him. I don't recall him ever hooking Anakin's lightsaber onto his belt in A New Hope, but I kind of thought that was a good part on Hasbro on making that little hook there, so you can swap out the lightsabers he has. So again, the blade is of course removable. It too has that grooved peg, so the blade does not easily fall out, which I think is a major bonus in terms of posing him, not worrying about the blade popping out. While of course the Revenge of the Sith does not have a grooved blade, so it easily pops out, which I have to worry about if I'm going to lose this blade or not. Now getting into the actual accessory that I wanted to get into, get him out of here, is the actual figure stand. Now, as I mentioned before, I am doing this review blind. I have not seen any reviews on this figure in terms of the actual exclusive. I have only seen the other reviews of him in the standard Black Series red and black box with the traditional words and logos. And actually, getting to the stand, it is actually very nicely detailed. As you can see, it's just a standard stand, just a stonish, tannish type of color, which I thought was a good idea on their part. It has those little grainy designs on it and all of that. Now, also, it could just have a hologram of Princess Leia, which easily pops out. Of course, it's just standard translucent blue plastic. You can see through it for the lights and sound feature, which I mentioned before, which is why you need AAA batteries. Nice detailing on this little minifig of Princess Leia. Nice detailing in her robes, and you can also obviously see her buns under her hood. See if I can get a close-up of her face. It does look like Carrie Fisher a little bit. Not much, but it does a bit. As I said, this is a tiny little figure. Now, what you have to do, if you want to change the batteries on this stand, now obviously, since this is exclusive, they already have the batteries in here. All you simply must do is take this top cover off, and you can see in here is the battery compartment. All you simply must do is unscrew that screw, then remove the door, and then put your 3 AAA batteries in there. And then obviously you put the door back on, put the screw in, then you pop this cover back on. See if I can get it aligned. You have to get the figure aligned with the LEDs, which is, there we are. And then obviously there's the matter of just plugging the Princess Leia hologram back in there. She plugs in really nice. Now, I did not know at first that this had sound. I thought it was just the lights. So I did press the button once, and if you remember that little title card on the front of the box, not the Alice Guinness side, the other side with Princess Leia's quote, she actually says that too. And I played the first half because it plays in two parts. The first half plays her first part of her message to Obi-Wan Kenobi and the rest of the gang, while the other half plays the remainder. Now, I played the first part, so now I'm going to play for you the second part, and then I'm going to play the first part for you again. So, here it is.
General Kenobi, years ago you served my father in the Clone Wars. Now he begs you to help him in his struggle against the Empire. I regret that I am unable to present my father's request to you in person, but my ship has fallen under attack, and I'm afraid my mission to bring you to Alderaan is failed. I have placed information vital to the survival of the rebellion into the memory systems of this R2 unit. My father will know how to retrieve it. You must see this droid safely delivered to him on Alderaan. This is our most desperate hour. Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope. Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope.
Oh, as you can see in here, the lights on that are relatively bright on my camera, as well as the voice is pretty loud. It does sound a lot like it is basically a copy of Carrie Fisher's voice implemented into this little device. And that is overall my favorite part of this figure, is the accessory, the fact that it came with Princess Leia hologram that actually functions. As I said before, it looked beautiful on my camera. As you saw, it looked very bright, blue, hologramish, nice voice, and it played in two parts as I mentioned. And I overall think that they did a nice job on that one, that they actually included that in this little accessory, which is probably why this figure costs a lot more than what its other retailers cost, because mainly the only difference between this Obi-Wan and a recently released Obi-Wan single pack, which does not have all of this but is just the standard Black Series as I mentioned, is just the number of accessories that comes with this figure. Now, obviously, that pretty much wraps up my review. As for the ratings, I give this Obi-Wan figure an honest and solid 10 out of 10 for the overall number of accessories. Of course, that stand accessory, his robes, the two lightsabers with the grooved pegs, and overall just the figure in general in terms of his paint apps and articulation, and as well as the overall sculpt. Of course, he is 6 inches as to the other figure, so he stands not exactly 6 inches, maybe a bit smaller, but not too small as to where he's not 6 inches. So this figure is 6 inch, as you saw. I can place my Obi-Wan Revenge of the Sith figure here for you again. And of course, I can raise my camera a bit. Sorry about that. Oh, wrong lever. As you can see, the figures are somewhat the same height. I guess the Revenge of the Sith Obi-Wan is a little bit taller, because I guess since Obi-Wan's old, old people kind of shrink when they get older. As I heard a myth, so I guess that's true. But yeah, overall this figure is very beautifully sculpted. I'm glad that I got this figure, and as I said, I gave it a 10 out of 10 because it is a very nice figure. And actually, before I end this review, I can probably put his lightsaber on his belt. And then maybe I'll put the robes back on him too, because I know he was kind of cold. Let's see here. Get his. Okay, I got his lightsaber on there, so I'm gonna take the robes off of this Obi-Wan figure. I'm actually happy that this robes actually fit on the Obi-Wan figure, because I did wish that Hasbro could have released Obi-Wan Revenge of the Sith figure with Jedi robes too, like this New Hope Alec McGuinness Obi-Wan figure. Because obviously, some of the Siths have soft goods like robes and stuff, like the Emperor Palpatine and Darth Vader in terms of his cape and his underskirt. And I just kind of wish that some of these Black Series figures came with more soft goods, because the soft goods are actually my favorites on these figures. So, see. I actually like this figure, to be honest. I do have a Farm Boy Luke coming too. I don't know when that's coming, but when it does, I will make a review on him as well. But yeah, that was. Let's see if I can. Yeah, that was the Star Wars The Black Series 6-inch Alec Guinness Obi Wan Kenobi / Ben Kenobi figure from Star Wars A New Hope and every Star Wars movie afterwards. Of course, as always, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like below. And of course, also subscribe. Of course, you don't have to, but you can if you want to. I mean, it don't really matter to me, I don't really care, but every subscriber counts. And as always, have a nice day, and may the Force be with you.